Yeah, Srini, please share the screen connected to ESXi host. Previous session, we deployed the ESXi host. We created a RAID controller on IBM server. And what is the size? It is a size that storage size is 279 GB. So we are going to see, we are going to deploy how to create a virtual machine on this particular server. Go to configuration tab and see what is the storage availability for this server. There is a storage availability. We created a RAID controller, RAID 1, by using 2 physical disks on this physical server. Once RAID controller is configured, we deployed the ESXi host installation. It is a pretty simple. You know how to install the ESXi host and what is the configuration you need to perform under DCUI screen. That everything is ready. So we need to cross check. Storage is ready. That is data store. What is the size? 270 GB is available. And what is the network switch configuration is available? What is the switch is available for my VM? Whatever the VM I'm going to deploy, what is the switch configuration is available? Where to check? Go to networking tab and check what is the switch properties. There is a switch is already available. By default, during the installation, it is going to create a default switch and one management network port group and one virtual machine port group. That is VM network port group is already there. So what I'm going to do here, this particular switch, I'm going to add an additional NIC card for a redundancy purpose and see what is the NIC cards availability. How to check the NIC cards availability? Go to NIC adapters and see how many NICs are available and which is connected, which is not connected. See, as this is a very old server, you can see what is the duplex setting is available. Only 100 MB. Only 100 Mbps full duplex is available. The other NIC is there, but it is not connected. What we are going to do is, we are going to do a patch cable. We are going to connect this physical port VMNIC1 to patch cable to the switch at the physical layout. Physical layout in the sense, we are going to connect one more cable from VMNIC1 to physical switch. That we can do later. For now, what is the switch is available? Go to networking. This particular switch is only having one NIC card. So I'm going to create two more virtual machine port groups to configure for my VMs. Whatever the VMs I'm going to deploy, I'm going to configure just one port group. There is no different port groups available because it is all available on a single network. Same network, it is all available in same network. There's just for purpose, just for the practice purpose, I'm going to create one more port group. How to create a port group on the same switch? Go to properties. Where to go properties? I'm going to create a port group on a switch. Where to click on properties? Yes. Okay. Click on properties. There are already port groups available. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create one more port group for the practice. Click on add. Virtual machine. What port group I'm going to create now for my virtual machine traffic? Select next. Just top virtual machine network label. What you are going to do, just mention a name. Whatever the name you want, you can name it. Just finance. Here VLAN I'm not going to mention because it is already same network. There is no network configuration available. I am not in a position to create VLAN IDs, network port groups at the physical layout. Physical switch, the VLAN's configuration and everything is going to take care by network engineer. As we are going to learn only VMware virtualization, we are going to see just how to create a port group. If the VLAN information, all those information is available, we can mention. Okay. Just I'm creating port group without VLAN. So just namesake. Okay, create next, finish. So I created a port group. There are two port groups are available. Click close. There are two port groups available for my virtual machine communication. What are those two virtual machine port groups? One is VM network, another one is finance. I can connect any port group for my VM to establish communication to outside world. What is the outside world? Through it is going through NIC 0, VM NIC 0. That VM NIC 0 100 M full is there. It is connected to switch on the outside world. The outside world in the sense where this VM NIC 0 is available. This is a physical server. This physical server having two NIC ports are available. After two NIC ports, click on network adapters. Out of two NIC ports, one is connected. How can I say one is connected, one is not connected? VM NIC 0 is showing as a 100 full. That in the sense, it is connected to a switch and it is able to handshake with a 100 MB full duplex speed. So other one it is showing as a down here. That is VM NIC 1, it is showing a down, right? That's the reason I'm not in a position to use that particular port now, that particular physical port now. What is the basic requirement to create a switch? If I want to create an additional switch, I should have one particular NIC card to create a switch. If I have multiple NIC cards available, I can create those many number of switches. One more basic important thing is it doesn't matter how many port group, how many switches you are going to create. It is all matters about how my redundancy I'm going to maintain, resiliency how I'm going to maintain. If I have only two port groups, I'm going to assign those two port groups to single switch. On a single switch, I can create n number of management port groups, n number of virtual machine port groups with a different VLAN IDs. Okay, now storage is ready, network is ready, physical server is ready. What is my physical server? How to check what is my physical server? Select the ESXi host, go to summary tab and see what is the model of the ESXi host, what is the CPU configuration. See here, what is the model? It is a IBM server. What is the model? It is a IBM server. What is the model? IBM System Max 3550. How many cores are available? 8 CPUs are available with a certain speed. What is the memory availability? 8 GB memory. What is the utilization? Current utilization. See current utilization. This is the current utilization. Okay. Then how many sockets are available on this particular processor, on this motherboard? How many sockets? What is the socket? On the motherboard, what is the socket is available to insert the processor? That is the sockets. How many cores per socket? 4 cores per socket. So total availability, total logical process, how many? 8. As a hyperthreading is not available on this motherboard, see here, it is showing as inactive. If it's a hyperthreading is active, by default, my logical cores 8 is going to be showing, going to show as 16 processors. Okay, that's the way you need to understand what is socket, what is a core, what is hyperthreading. What is important feature we enabled yesterday in previous session? Virtual technology, which VT technology under CPU process, CPU settings of the BIOS. We need to make sure VT technology should be enabled. Hyperthreading, if it is available, we need to enable. Okay, system is ready. Now we are going to proceed with create a virtual machine. Now create a virtual machine. Right click on the ESXi host. This virtual machine, whatever the virtual machine I'm going to create, I'm going to create to load an operating system 2008. 2008 R2, I'm going to load an machine to load this server, make this server. I'm going to use this virtual machine for my centralized management. I'm going to load vCenter server on this particular whatever the virtual machine I'm going to create, I'm going to deploy vCenter server on top of it. So first I'm going to do creating a virtual machine only. What is a virtual machine? What is the purpose I'm going to create? I need to install vCenter server, vSphere server I'm going to install. That is the application I'm going to install. To install that application, what is the requirement? I need an OS, operating system. What is that operating system? Windows 2008 R2. Okay. For to load Windows 2008 R2, what I need? I need a server. I need a machine to load 2008 R2. What machine? I can create a physical server. I can create a virtual server. In this scenario, I'm going to use virtual machine to maintain my vCenter server. So what purpose I'm going to create, what to achieve I'm going to create. According to that, I need to maintain the configuration of this particular virtual machine. Okay, hope it is clear. So create a virtual machine, select new virtual machine, custom, next, vCenter server. What is the purpose? I am going. It is not a 2008 server. It is a VC server. I am mentioning application name. That's it. You can mention anything. Why application? I'm going to load that. I'm going to use that as server for my vCenter server. So that's the reason I'm going to mention as vCenter server. Let's proceed next. Next, what is the data store is available? It is showing the data store folder. Okay, click next. We'll go with the latest VM version so that it is compatible for this particular ESXi host. That is 11. Okay. What is the difference between 4 and 7, 8 and everything we noticed previous session. Okay. This is a BIOS. VM version is nothing but a BIOS motherboard we are going to create. Click next. Windows. What operating system I am going to load? Windows 2008 R2. Okay. Why I'm choosing only old versions? Because I can go with the 2016, but the problem is here I have a limited resources, limited server. I don't have physical resources or availability. That's the reason I'm going with the lowest version, least versions for my lab environment. Because if I choose 2016, I need to provide at least minimum 8 GB RAM, minimum 100 GB, and all those in configuration I need to provide to work properly. As it is a lab environment, I have a limited resources availability on this physical server. That's the reason I am choosing end of life product. That is a legacy versions I'm going to provide. This is same installation. You can install 2008, you can install 2012, anything. Installation basic concept is same. By understanding basic concept, you can do any version. Okay. So I'm choosing 2008 R2. By choosing 2008 R2 doesn't mean that it is going to load an operating system. It is, I'm creating a motherboard for compatibility of 2008 R2 OS. Okay. Next, click next. CPU virtual machine sockets, make it a 2 and below course password 4. Make it 4. Yes, total 8 CPUs. I provided total 8 CPUs provided. Okay. Make it 4. 2 into 2. 2 sockets and 2. I need to use other purpose also. Okay, next. Make it 4 GB. That's fine. Here, the network card I'm going to assign. What are the network ports are available here? There are 2 port groups are available for this virtual machine communication. Drop down and see what virtual machines are available. There are two, finance and VM network. I can choose anything. Okay, I can choose anything. Both are in same network. Both are representing same network here. There is no difference between VLAN IDs. So finance also same thing, and VM network also same. Okay, you can choose anything. Okay, next, adapter type. There are three adapter types are available. Adapter type drop down. What is this adapter types? E1000 is the default Intel chipset network card. VMNXT, it is a little advanced than E1000, E1000 NIC card. This is a network adapter, the driver. What I'm going to go do, I'm going to add a network adapter. What type of adapter I'm going to add to this virtual machine? Either Intel chipset or VMNX2 or VMNX3. VMNX3 in the NES, it is an advanced adapter. The throughput, it is a VMware software adapter. E1000 is a Intel adapter. There is a different vendors available for each network card. D-Link network card, different network cards are available. In this particular virtual machine hardware, what are the adapters are available by default? There are three adapters are available. You can choose E1000, it is a default adapter. What I'm going to do, I'm going to choose ENS3. I'm going to show you some options in 2008 R2. What is network card difference, why it is showing like this, and everything I'm going to show you. That's the reason I'm going to choose VMNX3, the advanced card. Okay. If I select E1000, without loading drivers, it is going to accept by default by 2008 R2 respective operating system. What is the driver? We are going to talk about once this installation is done. Okay. I'm choosing VMNX3. VMNX3 is nothing but a network driver. Who is the vendor? It is a VMware vendor for this network card. It is a virtual network card. Click next. SCSI logic. What is the type of SCSI controllers? There are four controllers are available. Four types of controllers are available. I can choose LSA logic as a default. VMware Paravirtual is advanced adapter by VMware. What it is going to provide? It is going to provide high performance. But the thing is that as we are going to load a 2008 R2, 2008 R2 by default, it is not going to support VMware Paravirtual by default. It requires a driver installation. That's the reason we are not going to choose VMware Paravirtual. If you are going to load 2012 or 2016, you can choose VMware Paravirtual. By default, it supports. Okay. LIC logic says go with next. Create a virtual hard disk. I'm going to load what are the operating system I'm going to load. What purpose I'm going to load this operating system? vCenter purpose. By default, operating system requires a minimum 40 GB. And what is the application I'm going to load, and that is also need to consider to create a hard disk here. So for that reason, I'm going to choose 80 GB for this purpose. Create next, choose 80 GB. I have space, I have 270 GBs available. Out of 270, some already deployed. So I'm going to choose 80 GB. Okay, click next. SCSI ID, I told you how many controllers are available. Drop down, you can see I choose the LSA logic SAS. I can choose VMware Paravirtual in previous screen. How many controllers, how many disks I can attach to this particular system, this particular virtual machine. How many disks I can attach? By default, SCSI controller supports 15 devices. I can for each controller, 15 devices I can attach. If it is an IDE controller, I can attach only 2 devices. Okay. Now I'm coming to SCSI controller. If you see 0:0, 0:1, like that, it will be there until 15. Come down little slowly, come down. It is going to show you until 15. After 15, if you can see, further drop down, it starts with 1, 0. Like that, it will end up with how many controllers I can create, how many devices I can attach. Total 15, each controller 15 devices. I like that. Similar way, I can attach total 60 devices for this virtual machine. 60 devices. That in the sense, the by default virtual machine is going to support 4 SCSI controllers. Each controller supports 15 devices. If you see here, there is an option, you miss one number, that is go up, it starts with 00, and you can see there is a, by default, one controller is going to miss up. That is go 001, 002, you can see for each controller 07 is missing. You don't find 7. What is that 7? That 7 is by default. See here, 5, 6. After 5, 6, what is availability? 8 is there. There is no 7 availability. For each controller, by default, 7 is managed by the software. It is binded with the software. That's the reason 7 is not available. So for each controller, I can create 15 disks. Okay. So by default, it is going to show you 0.0. So we are going to proceed with 0.0. The first controller, first ID. SCSI ID we call it as. What is the SCSI ID? What is the hard disk we are going to connect, and which SCSI ID we are going to connect. Okay, that is SCSI 00. If you select ID controller, select ID controller, below it's there ID controller. How many devices we can connect? Only 2 devices. For each controller, 2 devices. But as we are loading to server operating system, ID controller doesn't support. That's the reason we are going to choose SCSI only. Select SCSI. Next, click next. This is a configuration we created for this particular virtual machine. And now see what are the files it is going to create on that particular vCenter server folder. Click finish. How to check what are the files are available, and we're going to see what files. Finish. So it is created a vCenter server folder, virtual machine. This is a what we are going to call it as it is inventory. Now what files are there? How to check the files? What files are it is created? Go to where the files are going to store under data store. To check the what files are available, what I need to do, go to configuration and select the storage. Right click on the data store, browse data store. Okay, go to browse. See what it happened. It created a folder with the respective server name. What are the server name it is we are going to create? It is going to create with that particular name. It is going to create one folder under data store. If you double click, select the vCenter server, you can see what are the files are available. See what are files? There are 3 files available. Before powering on, few files are available. Once you power on, what are the files are available? It is important to understand what these files are. Okay, so first file is important file is vmx. There is first for each file it is going to differentiate different options. If you see here, vmx, what is this? Server name dot vmx. What is that vmx? It is a file extension. What is that vmx? It is a configuration file. What is this configuration file? Whatever the CPU assigned, what is the BIOS setting that VM version selected, what is that, how much memory you selected, what are the devices you attached to this virtual hardware, all those information available under this vmx file configuration. This is the important file to refer to this particular virtual machine. What is the CPU, what is the memory, and everything will be there under this particular vmx file. Okay. One more important file, vmdk. What is this vmdk? .vmdk. What are the files it is going to create? It is going to create what are the files it is going to create under data store, under folder. What is that folder? It is going to create a folder with the name. What are the name you are going to give? With that name, it is going to create a folder. Under the folder, there are different files are available. Each file denotes a different function. One of the important file is VMX. VMX is nothing but what is the memory, what is CPU, and all those details. That is VMX file. We created a disk. What is the disk we created? 80 GB disk which is created. That disk is nothing but it is going to represent as .vmdk. What is that? .vmdk. Okay. So like that, there are different files are available. What is VMSD? Okay, we'll see. Before powering on, these only it is showing 3 files. Once we power on the server, what are the files are available? We'll see that. Minimize this and power on this particular vCenter server. So it is powered on. Open console and see there is no OS install on this. It is going to throw an error stating that operating system not found. Okay, close this. We console. We'll come back to this console. We'll see what is the files available first. Go to browse data store again. Go to click on configuration. Select ESXi host, configuration, select data store, right click on data store, browse data store. Select vCenter server. See here, previously has only 3 files. Now what are the files it is got created? What is the files it is going to create? Expand this name function, expand this name function. Okay, see here. Now the important concepts, what you need to understand, what are the files are available, what you need to understand here. This is one more file, important file, nvram. What is this nvram? Nvram, see here, this is a BIOS program. What is an, see type, what is a BIOS by default? Read only. Okay, BIOS program, what are the BIOS program? We cannot modify, what are things are there. The motherboard, that hardware version, it is going to power on, it is going to nvram file, that is nvram file. What is the log? It is going to log file. What are the actions it is going to perform at the virtualization layer? It is going to create a log file for this particular virtual machine. We discussed already VMX file. We discussed already vmdk file. What is VMX? What is vmdk? Right? So what is important files? As soon as you power on, it is going to create VMSD is a nothing but memory related. Okay. Snapshot database, we'll talk about snapshot database. This swap file, see what is a swap file it is created? vSwap. By default, what is the swap file it is going to create? The swap file, it is related to memory, the physical memory. It is a virtual memory for Linux operating system. This ESXi virtualization layer runs on Linux proprietary version. Linux proprietary version in the sense VMware proprietary kernel. VMware proprietary kernel, it is nothing but a kind of Linux. In Linux operating system, that virtual memory, we are going to call it as a swap file. What is this swap file is going to do? Whenever you are going to try to power on, it is going to check the size of the space on the data store. For example, I configured for this virtual machine 4 GB. 4 GB space should be available on data store to power on this particular VM. If there is no space on the data store, 4 GB is not available. I cannot power on this particular VM. It throws an error that there is no sufficient free space available to power on this virtual machine. That's the reason whatever the storage data store we are going to use, we need to make sure enough free space is available. Okay. So what are the configuration files? It is going to create different files. We are going to come into picture. We are going to understand what is the files, what we need to check, and all those things. By default, four important files. One is vmdk, one is vmx file, and nvram, and swap file, and logs. There are other files are going to come into picture, snapshot files. What is the snapshot files? What are the Redolog files and all those things comes in later picture. Okay, this is a basic files. As soon as you create a virtual machine and as soon as you power on, it is going to create this many. Whatever the action it is going to happen, those information it is going to store in the VMware vmware.log file. On the respective virtual machine folder, it is going to store all the log files. If any issue comes in picture for this virtual machine, it is going to, we need to understand, we need to analyze that logs to what's the problem on this virtual machine. Okay, it is advanced troubleshooting. You generally, normal troubleshooting, we are not going to refer this log file anything. If any issue are not able to troubleshoot, not able to understand what is the issue, then VMware vendor may ask what is a log file. They are going to provide analysis. They are going to provide analysis on this particular log file and provides the information. Even some KB article also provides some information. If you are facing this error, go to this log and find out the information. So where to go? We need to come over here and analyze this particular log. How to analyze the log and all those things we are going to see during the troubleshooting options. Okay, come back. What purpose we loaded, close this screen. What purpose we have loaded this operating virtual machine? We created this virtual machine to load an operating system. How to load an operating system? I need to load an operating system. What do I need to do? I need a ISO image. As it is a virtual machine, there is no CD-ROM available. I cannot keep the CD. Then how to mount? How to put ISO image? So there is an option. Go to edit settings of the virtual machine. Go to edit settings of the virtual machine. By default, we haven't created a CD-ROM for virtual CD-ROM for this. By default, whenever you are going to create, it is going to click on OK. It is a by default warning. So here, CD-ROM floppy drive already created. If you can see, CD-ROM created, floppy drive created by default system in the sense, all default components will create automatically. Okay, if you select CD-ROM, there are different options. What are the different options? I can choose the client device. I can choose the client device in the sense, the client, vSphere client we connected. Where we connected this vSphere client? I connected this vSphere client on my laptop. If my laptop has a CD-ROM, I can use that CD-ROM to use bootable image, or else next host device. Second option, host device in the sense, if my physical server has a CD-ROM, if my physical server has a CD-ROM, I can use host device. The third option is data store ISO file. You know that how to download the ISO image for each operating system. You can go to respective vendor site and can download the ISO image file. Okay. For now, we are going to load an operating system of Windows 2008 R2. So we need to download Windows 2008 R2 ISO image from Microsoft website. We already downloaded and we already copy. If you need to choose the data store ISO file, what we need to make sure, whatever the ISO image you downloaded, we need to make sure that file is available on data store. Click cancel. How to upload that ISO image? We already copied that ISO image. Show that my computer, where did you copy that? Where did you download and place that ISO image? Not here in my computer. Go to the D drive. We already downloaded ISO image for this particular purpose. So where did you keep? You are going to keep on this particular location on C drive or D drive, wherever you have the free space. We already downloaded that ISO image from a vendor site and kept this particular ISO image. What is ISO image? We already downloaded this ISO where it is available on my local system, on my C drive partition. Now what I'm going to do is this ISO image I'm going to upload to data store, because I need to keep this particular to data store so that I can mount this ISO image to my virtual machine. How to copy this file to my data store, ESXi host. So to perform that, connect to ESXi host, go to connect to ESXi host, go to configuration, storage, and data store. If you right click on data store, browse data store, there is an option called we can create a folder. See on the top icons, there is an option create a top folder. Yes, create a new folder. That is option. We already created a folder called ISO. Okay. So what we did, under we selected ISO. Once we selected ISO, click on ISO. Once we selected ISO, we need to upload the file to here. How to upload the file to here? We have the file in our local system. How to upload the file to here? So to do that, we browse the data store and created a folder. You can create a folder, or else you can directly upload the file to this particular data store. So what I'm going to do, upload. Click on upload button action. There is an upload option, download option available. This is upload files to this particular data store. There is a second icon is available, download option, download from this particular data store to local system. I can download a file if I need to analyze anything. For example, VMware log I need to analyze, that virtual machine log I need to analyze. So that from this data store, I can download certain files to local system. Now, what action I'm going to do now? I'm going to do a perform an action uploading ISO image to this particular data store. So I am selecting upload a file. Click on upload a file. It is going to give the path, local storage, where is the file available. I'm going to choose that file and select open so that it is going to upload this file to the respective data store. We already uploaded this file to this data store. This is a way you can copy ISO image to data store. Why we need to copy? I need to load an operating system on my virtual machine. To load an operating system, I need to mount the ISO image respect to operating system ISO image. That's the reason I'm copying this file. I'm performing all these actions. Click cancel. We already have a file, so that I'm going to proceed mount ISO image to my virtual machine and proceed with the 2008 installation. Click cancel. Now edit settings. Select CD-ROM. What option I need to choose here? Data store ISO file. I already copied data store ISO file. So click browse. Go to the path where we copied downloaded file, ISO, right? Select the image. Yes. Click OK. Now this is ISO image. I selected. Now what I need to do? What I need to do? I need to select device status. I need to connect the device to connect power on. Okay, well as whenever it is going to connect, it is going to connect that power on. Select the checkbox, path mentioned, and select the checkbox as a connected power on. The next option is connected. You can choose the connected also because it is already powered on. That's the reason. If it is in power off state, connected is not going to come into picture. Leave that as it is. I'm going to reboot the ESXi and reboot this particular virtual machine and see is it going to load the operating system or not. Click OK. Connect to console. Open console, right click on the virtual machine. There is an option open console. Open console in the sense, whatever the action is happening, I need to see that. That is a console. I don't have monitor. I don't have anything. So this is a virtual machine. How to see what is happening on this system? That is the reason open console. Click on open console. In this console also the options are available. Restart. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Reset or power off. Okay, different options are available. What I'm going to restart guest. Click on restart guest. Yes. I need to see is it loading with the default operating system or not now. See, I already mounted the CD-ROM. That's the reason it is loading that ISO image, bootable image. So virtual machine created. We understood that what are the files of virtual machines are available. What is the ISO you need to load. Whatever the operating system we are going to load, we need to download the ISO image and make sure that ISO image is available on respective data store. Once that file is available, I'm going to the VM edit settings. I'm going to mount that ISO image to start the installation. Okay, we know that how to start installation Windows 2008 R2. What we are going to complete? We are going to complete 2008 installation on this particular installation. Okay, once installation is done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform vCenter server installation. What purpose I'm loading? Once a server is ready, IP address configuration ready, server name is ready, all those configurations we know how to configure 2008 2000 server. Once configuration is done, we are going to load. Next session, we are going to load vCenter server. Why we need a vCenter server? Okay, what are the components are we comes under vCenter server? All those things. You proceed with installation. What are the options? You proceed with installation. Okay, what is the default options are going to come into picture? Why we need vCenter server? How to load vCenter server? What are the configure parameters we need to choose in vCenter server? Everything in next session we are going to see. By the time this server installation is complete, and then he is going to configure the IP address, server name, and all those things. So next session, we are going to talk about vCenter server. Why vCenter server? vCenter server is a centralized management console. We are going to create a lab. Already we created a lab, one ESXi host and 3 other ESXi hosts. To connect individual ESXi host, I can use VC client to 4 ESXi 4 sessions. If I have 100 ESXi hosts, is it possible to open 100 sessions from the same page? It is impossible. Okay. What is the same vCenter server is going to do? vCenter server is nothing but a centralized management console. We already discussed in last sessions what is a VMware product suite. ESXi host and vCenter server. These two components. What is a ESXi host? What is a vSphere server? vSphere server is nothing but a centralized management console wherein I can manage into each ESXi host. How to manage each ESXi host? What are the options are going to come into picture? All those things we are going to see. First, we need to go on to understand what is a vCenter server, what is a vCenter server prerequisite is to deploy centralized management console. What are the prerequisites? What are the things we need to check? All those things we are going to see in next session. Okay, so first now we already deployed ESXi host and then we created a virtual machine. And this virtual machine, what purpose we created? My intention is to load in a vCenter server on this. Once vCenter server is loaded, we'll see what are the options are going to come into picture. For that, I created a virtual machine, and virtual machine, what are the files are available, what to represent, and how to mount ISO image, everything we learn in this session. In next session, we are going to talk about vCenter server. Okay, And vCenter server, once vCenter server is available, what are the different options are available? We are going to explore. Get ready for vCenter server. By the time this installation will finish and is going to finish the updates, Windows updates and everything get ready for our lab. Okay. Bye for this session. Thank you.